Yo, what up guys? Welcome back to Sneaker Stories. As always, I'm your host Chris Jack. Today checking out one of the more polarizing silhouettes from Adidas and Kanye West. Of course, it is the Yeezy Foam RNNR, this time in the MXT moon grey colorway. Without further ado, let's check them out. Alright, so the Yeezy Foam RNNR, definitely, as mentioned, one of the more polarizing silhouettes that have ever released from any kind of brand or shoe manufacturer, in my opinion. Is it a croc? Is it a hype version of a croc? Is it a shoe? Is it a slide? I actually don't know the answer to any of that, but right here is the MXT moon grey colorway, and I honestly still just don't know what I feel about this shoe. Like, I think I hate it, I think I love it as well. It's just this really weird experience, and I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but judging by the kind of hype and the demand for this particular silhouette, I guess it's a good thing. Either way, the MXT moon grey and the sand colorway both released on March 26 here in South Africa and globally, of course, but locally speaking here through adidas.co.za and of course Shelf Life. It was kind of a kept hush release, like they didn't really put out too much information except for the day before. At least Adidas did. Shelf Life had a shock drop on their website with this particular colorway, the moon grey MXT, and the sand one was an in-store exclusive via first come first serve, and that was on Friday 26th of March, my birthday in fact. Not particularly the release I was looking for on my birthday to get, if I'm 100% honest, because as mentioned, I honestly don't know if I like or just absolutely despise the shoe. But I want to get into the story behind this. This was designed by Steven Smith and of course Kanye West, part of Yeezy's camp there, his lead shoe designer as far as I'm aware. And you have to give it to the guy. Like, this is innovation on another level, from a material makeup, from the design of the shoe, how they actually created the shoe, and kind of what it stands for in this sort of organic Yeezy design that we've seen through a whole host of different silhouettes from, of course, Adidas and Yeezy. Now, when it comes to the innovation present in this particular pair, most of it has been done around the material makeup of the shoe, reducing the carbon footprint and the use of fossil fuels in the production of the shoe. They've basically got algae farms in Wyoming, I think it is, where they've developed this certain, like, I guess you would call it material or substrate or whatever, that's basically grown from algae. And I'm going to get into whether I think this one has it or not, but later in the review. But the original Ararat colorway, which released last year, which caused an absolute frenzy worldwide, with resale prices being just insane on that pair. I think it was an absolute huge hit and people were really keen to try out the technology. So now people have the opportunity to do so through this colorway and the sand colorway that's come out. That sand colorway, they're very, very similar, just a slight different shade of light brown. As we know with a whole bunch of Yeezy 350s, they're very, very small colorway differences between the different releases, and that's kind of the same on that pair. But this particular one has definitely been a more bolder take on the colorway with a mix of these lighter browns and these darker grays, creating this kind of moon grey colorway, utilizing a mixed material or marbled effect on the shoe at that. Now, as mentioned, that original Ararat colorway did use the algae foam. That was the big sort of like driving force behind all the marketing and the pre-sort of interviews before the release of the shoe, where Steven Smith and Kanye West, I think it was at SWSX Southwest by whatever, one of those technology like conventions, where they both spoke about it and they introduced the shoe and spoke about the whole algae thing. That pair was made in America, like, and that was one of the biggest driving forces behind that as well, that they were made locally in America and they were extremely limited units. So that basically is what resulted in the crazy resale prices. But mostly, as we've seen with a lot of the OG models from Yeezy, there are very limited units in the beginning, drives the hype right up, and then they do like a wider sort of global release of maybe a different colorway or something close by later on, a couple of months later, and that's pretty much what's happened here. However, the MXT moon grey pair is a made in China pair, so no one really knows whether they've used that same sort of algae material. Did they ship it over from the States, from the farms in Wyoming to China for the manufacturing process? I don't know, and we don't have any information on that either. So I can't really be 100% sure if it is the same material. It certainly feels the same as what the sand variation was, and the sand variation was made in the USA. So both of these shoes that released side by side, the sand one was arguably more limited just because of its production in the USA, but I cannot confirm either. All I know is one is made in China, one is made in the USA. They feel the same. The one thing that other people have told me who have both pairs in hand, that the sizing is slightly different, a little bit tighter on the MXT Moon Grey, but we'll get into the sizing a little bit later in this review. Now, just to talk a little bit about the construction of the shoe, this is an injected molded system over here. You can actually see the entry point over here for the injection molding in the toe just underneath there, and basically it's one piece of material, one mold. It's literally all injected. It creates this incredible shape that you've got over here in the foam runner, and this is the most polarizing part. Like, this thing is completely alien. It's weird dimensions, it's just weird looking everything, and you either love it or you hate it. You can either pull it off or you're mad uncomfortable in the shoe. And I'm not talking about the comfort, the actual comfort of the shoe, because these things are insanely comfortable underfoot. The foam that's used in here is very, very squishy. It's not like Boost or whatever, because it's not as like responsive and spongy to that degree, but when your foot is inside of the shoe, you really do just sink into them. And because of that foam being the only material used throughout the entire construction of the shoe, you really have that cushioning from all sides. Now, flipping underneath the shoe, and I don't even know if I should call it a shoe, maybe it's a slide more than anything else, but we'll call it a shoe for the sake of this review. You do have a traction pattern over here, just giving you a little bit more grip underneath the foot. Now, from reviews that I have watched on the original pair, the Ararat, people have worn this pair quite a lot, and the durability of the material seems to actually be a lot better than one would think. And even after increased wear on the pair, the traction pattern basically holds through. There are some flat spots that you will get eventually with increased wear on the shoe, but overall it's actually pretty good. Just towards the heel section over here, you do have this sort of indent section with the Adidas Performance logo. It's the only place that the Adidas logo is represented on the shoe, and it's quite an interesting thing. I think Seth Fowler actually mentioned with the design of this thing, it kind of creates like an air pocket underneath the shoe. So basically when you're standing in it, this expands and contracts to basically create some kind of air cushioning there as well. So there's certainly been a hell of a lot of thought that's gone into the construction of this. And moving into the upper of it, you'll see a whole bunch of like these organic sort of shapes that are represented in other Yeezy models, specifically the 700 V1 over here, where you do have these oval sections that are represented towards the heel section. It's kind of been brought through here with these cutout sections here, and they're not just there for ventilation. This is definitely playing a big part towards the construction or structural integrity of the shoe. Basically just having these specific vents in the shoe which create a little bit more sturdier structure to it, and also providing ventilation as well. Just towards the top section over here, you do have these sort of like hidden 3 stripes. That's kind of another thing that you got on the 700 V1 over here. You know, they have the 3 stripes, but not like in your face, like you would only see them under flash just below that. And I'm sure, you know, on a couple of other Yeezy models as well, where they do incorporate the 3 stripes in some way or another. Now, moving into the toe section of the shoe. Now, this honestly, if this was just a little bit like more wedged up like that instead of concave like it is currently, I think I would have liked the shoe a little bit more. Like having this little bulge over here towards the forefoot of the shoe just looks weird to me. Like, I don't feel comfortable in it. It just like a kind of like it's like the front of a beak or something like that. I don't know. It just it does not like make me feel comfortable wearing the shoe. And purely just from I cannot pull this shoe off to save my life. But then you look at photos of like Justin Bieber rocking them, and he just makes it look so effortless. So there's that too. So if you have that kind of style and you can pull that thing off, then this is probably going to be a shoe that you're going to love. Now, moving inside of the shoe, there is also this kind of grip traction pattern with a dimple effect that happens throughout the insole and around the sock liner section of the shoe. And that, I believe, is basically just to provide kind of grip to the rest of your foot once your foot is in here, because you can wear these without socks if you want to, or with socks, but either way it's going to really hug your foot really nicely. It's very, very easy to get into the shoe. There's a hell of a lot of aperture here in the heel collar section, or at least the entry point to the shoe. So getting these on and off is super easy. They are incredibly comfortable at that as well. And then just one little detail in here, which is also debossed, I guess, into the mold of the shoe, is just the foam runner with a size 10 US, which is this particular pair, and made in China in there. So the ones that say made in America have basically made in America, but same sort of outset with the size and the model name. Now, just one thing on the coloration of the MXT Moon Grey, each one of these pairs, considering it is an injection molded system, are going to be different from a coloring perspective. So some of them will have a little bit more pattern, or a little bit more like light brown or marbling effect throughout the shoe. I mean, you can actually see the difference just between these two. This one's even got some of that lighter brown towards the top of the shoe. Something that I don't know if I really like that at all, but you know, it's kind of a lucky package depending on what you get from Adidas or wherever you purchased your pair. You don't really know what you're going to get until you got them in hand. And then just some other details that come with the shoe. You obviously got the size tag over here. It's got the Adidas Foam Runner with the size on, of course, and they have used this new sort of tweed or whatever material that they've used. They've moved all Yeezy to this now. It's no longer a little plastic thing, so probably a little bit more sustainable from that effort. You do have a small little size tag sticker here in the heel section of both shoes. That basically doesn't even stick to the shoe, it comes straight out as well, so you don't have to worry about that. And then one of the weirdest things I have to show you has to be the box. Now, having seen photos now from a friend of mine who has the sand colorway and the MXT moon colorway, one thing I did pick up is the boxes are actually different between the made in USA and made in China pairs. The China box is slightly lighter, if I'm not mistaken. The text on it is slightly lighter, but both of them are like an inside out box. So you've got literally no branding or anything like that on the exterior of the box. It is a flip top box as well, so it basically opens like that. And then all your branding inside over here is of course what you would normally find on the exterior, even all the way down to the size label in there as well. Now this is something that's quite weird, like putting all that information inside. You do have a small little size tag over here, which basically just says what size it is. As you can imagine, it could be quite difficult, like in a warehouse, like trying to figure out or opening up every box to find out which size you're shipping and all of that kind of stuff. But from a colorway perspective, it just says MXMOGR, so basically mixed moon gray, and that times 3 with the sizing information, just standard foam runner, of course. Now the one thing that is a bit different here is the box is quite a thinner cardboard, so if you are going to be shipping these or selling them, I would definitely suggest double boxing them, because this seems like a box that can get wrecked quite quickly. It almost takes me back to the original 350 V1 boxes, which were a lot thinner and used to just basically crumble on any kind of shipping, but maybe this one slightly sturdier. And one other thing, just the paper here on the MXT Moon Grays is also a slightly different color to the one that you got on the sand, so don't be alarmed if you do get that and you have the sand pair. There might be those kind of differences between the box print and the paper, and even the sizing between the Moon Grays and the sand colorways. So don't think that you may be getting scammed or whatever on a fake pair if you do buy it on the aftermarket. There are definitely those differences with both of these pairs that I've got the photos of that I've shown you here, both coming from Adidas directly. Now from a pricing perspective, these dropped locally here for 1,699 Rand, which is a really good deal for what you're getting over here. I mean, it is just an injection molded croc or whatever, but I think that's still a fair price point for what you're getting on the foam runner. Of course, the resale prices, due to the limited nature or supply of these particular pairs, at least here in South Africa, are fetching quite high resale prices, anywhere between sort of 6,000 and 9,000 Rand, depending where you look. And from a sizing perspective, I do have a US 10 over here, which is the equivalent of a UK 10. So in slides and foam runners, evidently, the UK size and the US size are exactly the same. So if you are looking to buy from StockX, don't think about taking a half size down to get your UK size from the US size, because they are absolutely the same on the foam runner. Now, I will say I have seen some other reviews where they do recommend going true to size, your standard sort of Yeezy size on the foam runner. They do not make these in half sizes. There are only full US or UK sizes as well. But in my opinion, having tried this US 10 on, I would suggest taking that full size up from the true to size. So my true to size is a UK 9. I have a UK 10 over here, and they do fit me good. There might even be a little bit like too tight here on the top section, but that all depends on your foot shape. So this is definitely a pair that I would recommend trying to get your hands on to try on before you buy, if you can. We do have some of these here at the Story Cape Town Marketplace. Obviously here in Cape Town, our live marketplace store for all things sneakers. Feel free to check out the website below to see if we've got your size. And as always, feel free to come around to the store and try them on before you buy as well. Now, one last thing I do want to say, and this might come across as a little bit weird, and it might actually confirm that algae was used in the manufacturing process of the China version. These things have a very organic smell to them. Like, they really do not smell good at all. Like, I literally take them out the box and I don't really like handle bad smells too well. These are right up there with the worst smelling shoe of all time. Just gonna leave that with you. But that is it for the review of the Yeezy Foam Runner MXT Moon Grey. I hope you guys have found it helpful, enjoyable. If you did, please do me the favor, give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe right here for more content, unboxings and reviews down the line. But that is all from me for today, guys. I'll catch you on the next one.